He like, bro, let's leave. Let's go to the trial. We can't be here no more. Let's just run. And I'm telling him like, listen, we can't run. You feel me? We gonna get caught eventually. If anybody is even telling. He swore up and down Shawty was telling. And she just so happened that she kept it real for a second, right? She ended up telling on my best friends, right? So when the police pulled up on my best friend, that was all she wrote. He ended up telling on us, and in the statement was saying basically, me and my brothers were the aggressors. We scared him into doing this situation, and the only reason he did it is because we threatened his life. You know everybody, you know my whole family.
The whole team.
Yeah.
100.
100.
Double salute. Wildlife 100.
Wildlife 100.
I've been in the trap every day, I don't get much sleep.
Wildlife 100.
Something so real, so real, you can feel it in your knees. I need something like you, do you need someone like me?
What's moving, everybody? Hey, man, you already know what's going on. I got another crazy story for y'all today, man. Y'all see the caption of this video. This video today is about the time my best friends sent me to jail. Straight up. I'm talking about a good amount of time, too, for real. And they sent me to the 7th floor. If anybody know anything about jail, then y'all know the higher up, it's only 8 floors in DeKalb County Jail. The higher up the floor, the worse the inmates are. So I was on the 7th floor with some of the worst people. And this was my first time going to jail for the most part. Like, actually having to fight for my life, actually almost going to trial, having to get a lawyer and stuff like that. I had been locked up before, but for something petty, like I think I got into a fight at school. I was only in jail for like a couple hours or something. This case right here, I really had to fight for my life, and I really had to do time behind it. So, enough of the explanation. Let's hop straight into the story. So, a lot of y'all, if y'all watch my content, then y'all know I went to jail. Y'all know I made the judge cry. Y'all know pretty much what I even went to jail for. I went to jail for armed robbery, criminal attempt to commit armed robbery. Now, just to give y'all a little breakdown of the story, I had just graduated high school. I was like 18 years old, and I used to sell drugs. That was my thing, was selling, selling green. So while I was doing that, I started robbing people, right? Robbing people, robbing homes and stuff like that. It just was one of those things that just kind of happened. Alley Boy had dropped a couple albums at the time, and if y'all don't know who Alley Boy is, he was just one of them gutter rappers that talked about robbing all the time, and I resonated with it at that point in time. Now, when I graduated, I had 2 best friends who basically used to be with me all the time. Whether we was selling green or robbing houses or anything, whether we was hopping down on girls, going to parties, whatever. It was just, you got your clique. You got your clique that you with all the time, and y'all just doing everything together. Now, it was one that had the car. He had a Monte Carlo, and we used to drive everywhere in that Monte Carlo. And the other one, he was shorter, and we kind of had similar minds, right? Well, at least I thought. Me and him, we got along a little more than the other one. We was all best friends, don't get me wrong, but it was a fat one and it was a short, skinny one. The fat one had the car. The skinny one, he was more so my style. Like, we hopped down on girls together, you know what I'm saying? He had a similar style as mine. He had a similar mindset as mine. At least I thought. So, we just used to do everything together. Everything. It didn't matter what it was. It was that situation where these folk used to walk in my house, bruh, without me even being there. Speak to my mama, open the refrigerator, crack open the Coca-Cola or something like that, and just chill until I got there. That's how close we were back then. So, like I told y'all, we got into robbing, robbing houses and stuff like that, which soon escalated into robbing people. Now, this what leads to the reasoning that I got locked up, right? So one day, we all went to the mall. It was me, the fat boy, and the skinny boy. We all went to the mall, and we was looking for an outfit or something. We had a party to go to that night, or we had to meet up with some girls later on or something like that. So we went to the mall, and mind you, South DeKalb Mall, we was doing a lot of our dirt on the east side. You know, a lot of people knew us on the east side. So South DeKalb Mall was like our home mall, you know? So we had built a certain confidence, a certain false confidence from doing certain things around the hood and being known for certain things around the hood, right? And with building this certain confidence, we felt like that was our territory. You know, that was our hood. That was our stumping ground. You know, if we don't know you, we own you. You know, that was the kind of vibe that we had back then. Which, being grown now, I understand how stupid that is. You don't own no property over here. You don't own no land, nothing. You feel me? This ain't none of this stuff yours. You know, but you know, being younger, it was like it was a power thing. It was a power dynamic, or at least we thought we had power in a certain way, right? But we ended up going to the mall that day, and when we went to the mall, we shopping around, and this guy walks into the mall. Now, when he walks into the mall, he starts to look at the jewelry in the middle of the mall. Now, I should have already knew something was kind of off because, you know, the jewelry at the middle of the mall ain't really just high class jewelry. Ain't nothing wrong with it, but it ain't just the most expensive or just the most high class. But what what caught my attention, and my boy, the skinny one, my boy, he tapped me on the shoulder and he told me to look. So I looked. When I looked over at him, he started pulling out all these wads of money, right? From the left pocket, the right pocket, the back pocket, and they all look like hundreds. You know, I don't know if they were counterfeit or what, but they look real to me. You know what I'm saying? So that caught my attention. Now, as he's looking at the jewelry and pulling his money out, a chick that I know that actually helps me with my robbery, she walked in. I called her my little back door chick, you know? She was actually one of my best friends also, but the female version, right? She and what a back door chick is she basically helps me back door people. You know, she gives me the drop on certain things so I can commit the robbery easier. You know, like even if it's setting somebody up or if it's telling me somebody's whereabouts or scoping a house or anything like that. Now mind you, we 17, 18 years old, we just graduated high school, right? So she ends up walking inside the mall, and when she walked inside the mall, it was like perfect timing. It seemed like it seemed like everything was just going right. Like this was just the right thing that was supposed to be happening, right? So she walks and she greets me, and you know I give her a hug and all that, and I told her to look at Buddy, right? And I didn't even really say much. I just did one of these head nods, like get at him, right? So she like, all right, bet. You feel me? She already knew the play. So she went, walked over to him, got his information. When she got his information, you know, we split it ways. We ain't talk no more in the mall. We just made sure that he didn't see us together anymore. You know, because we didn't want to make it seem like me knowing her or her knowing me was or knowing us was any deeper than what it was. You know, we just greeted each other, parted ways. She went over there to talk to him, got his number, and we was out. You know, we ended up leaving the mall right then and there, and I called her and I'm like, hey, um, see if he trying to meet up like right now. So she was on that. She like, all right, bet. She ended up texting him already, and she was on his line heavy already. We just now leaving the mall, but see, my back door chick, she was real. She was fine. You know, she had gray eyes. She was slim, slim, thick, light skin. You know, she had a little hair on her. You know, she was fine. You feel me? So he was on her. You know, he texting her back quick, and she like, hey, you know, come over. I told her, I'm like, tell him to come over to this spot. Now I knew this abandoned apartment that in this complex that we used to frequent all the time, right? So the plan was, I told her to tell him to come to an abandoned apartment, and we were gonna be in the apartment parallel to that one, and we was gonna jump out, right? So that's what she told him. So we go back to the house. Me and my two best friends, we go back to the house, and I zoom up the stairs because my brother is at the house. My brother, Chop, this is the guy that I got locked up with. actually ended up being my co-defendant. We fought together. We kept it solid together. It ended up being us just in the end, for real, for real. So I tried to zoom inside the house and zoom back out before he knew what I had going on, because I already knew he was gonna want to be a part, or he was gonna want to be my protector in some type of way, because he already didn't like my two best friends. So I ran upstairs, I changed my clothes up, and I tried to run back downstairs, and and he like, "Hey, bro, where you going?" So my two best friends, they sitting downstairs. They waiting on me at the bottom of the steps, right? We had a little townhome, and I went up. My room was upstairs, so I came back downstairs. They waiting downstairs at the door. My brother Chop come running downstairs, following me like, "Hey, where you finna go?" And I'm like, "I'm gonna be right back." When I said that, my skinny best friend was like, "Hey, nah, bro, we finna go handle this business real quick. Here." And he pulled out a Glock and gives it to him, right? And it didn't hit me then, that why did you do that? Well, it did hit me, why did you do that? But it didn't hit me as to how maniacal that decision was at the time, or how maniacal his mind was at the time. My skinny best friend. So my brother, he crazy, he a little throw, so he ain't even question it. He said, "Oh yeah, it's one of them moves." He put it in his pants, and we all out. We all hopped into the Monte Carlo, and I'm telling Chop, like, I'm like, "Listen, bro, you ain't gotta come with us. You feel me? Like, this ain't, we got this under control. You know what I'm saying? Like, and plus we had already busted a move. We had robbed the plug maybe a couple days before that. And if y'all want to know that story, comment plug in the comments, man, in the comment section, and I'm gonna give y'all that story. But we had robbed the plug a couple days before time, so it was like, listen, I didn't even have to be on this mission. That's why I told you we had a false confidence, right? The only reason we did this is because this guy was in our hood. He was flexing like he had it. And it was like, "Who are you? I ain't never seen you before. You ain't from around here. We finna take you off." You know? But like I told you, me and my brother Chop, we had already took a plug off a couple days before, and we was straight. Didn't even need this little paper, but that's how stuff go. Greed. But we end up leaving, and Chop followed along with us. We all hopped in the Monte Carlo, and now the move was set. So we go to the abandoned apartment, and we wait. We wait in the abandoned apartment until we hear them folks coming. And mind you, the girl that set it up, she texting me the whole time and letting me know, like, yeah, he just pulled up. He walking to the door, all that like that. So as soon as they walked to the door, soon as he came to the door, he had two other guys with him, bruh. Two other guys with him. You coming to get some cheeks, fool, and you done brought two other guys with you. But I guess he felt like something was up, and I can't knock him for that, you know. So he ends up pulling up, and when he walks through the breezeway, we hear him. So as soon as he walks through the breezeway and he starts knocking on the door parallel to ours, we pop out the door. Only me and my brother pop out the door. Um, the fat boy, he the getaway driver. He got the car, so he was in the car. My skinny best friend, he didn't even step out the out the doorway, and I should have known. I just should have known from the way he gave my brother the gun and all that stuff like that. I should have known that he was on something weird. So he didn't step out the door or anything like that. We ended up stepping out the door. My brother, he grabbed one of the guys, threw him in the apartment, and I yoked him up, right? So the other guys, he did all this with like one hand. You feel me? He grabbed him, threw him in the apartment, and had the on the other two, right? So one of them ran. One of them ran. I'm talking about ASAP. But before we even could respond to him running, he dipped, right? So now, it's just the guy that was pulling all the money out. He in the breezeway. So he just seen his partner run. My brother like, "Listen, you better stay still." You feel me? Man, and I don't know why he decided to do this. He seen his partner run. he felt like he was by himself, so he decided to turn around and run his damn self. When he turned around and ran, by reflex, pow, he got hit. Just reflex. You wasn't supposed to move. So he ended up getting hit. He was laid out on the in the breezeway, screaming, screaming. He done got hit in his lower back. He can't move. His legs ain't working or anything like that. Now, while this is going on, we got the third guy that he brought with him in the apartment. We got him in the apartment, and we basically going through his pants and all that. Mind you, the skinny one, he ain't doing nothing. He over there standing to himself. Me and my brother, we going in his pants, and we come to realize nobody had nothing. Nobody brought no money. Nobody ain't have. These niggas ain't even have a martyr card, bro. And not even a bus card, fool. You feel me? So we ended up letting Shawty go, and the only reason we let him go because he knew who I was, right? He knew who I was, and he knew about me, right? So my whole thing was, listen, fool, you know who I am. You know I can catch up with you. You know, like it was just a coincidence that he brought somebody that actually knew who I was. So I'm like, you know who I am. You know I catch up with you. And he swore up and down, I ain't gonna tell nobody. I ain't gonna tell nobody. This, that, that, that. He just so happened to be the realest one in the case for real. You know, straight up, because everybody else told after that. I mean, listen, maybe the next day, the victim, he ended up getting resuscitated because he died and came back a couple times, so they say. Woke up and basically told everything in the hospital bed, in the hospital room. And he started with the girl, bro. He told on the girl first. The police went and picked her up. She called me from the jail phone and said, "Hey man, they came and got me. I need you to do something." So I said, "All right, just wait. Just chill. Just wait a minute. So the next day hit. Now her family is calling me like, "Yeah, Shawty keep telling me to call you. She don't know what to do. She keeps saying you gonna do something. You gonna handle it." I'm like, "Yeah, we gonna handle it. Just chill. Everybody just chill. I'm trying to wait for something to die down or something like that. Cause at this point, a man just almost died, and it's on us." After that, maybe the third or fourth day, we start seeing people park. We start seeing unmarked cars parked outside of where me and Chop was staying, outside of my mama house, bro. And it seemed kind of weird, but we wasn't 100% sure. And Chop was telling me like, "Man, listen, let's leave. Let's go to the trap." We had just accumulated a trap down the street off Glenwood. That's in another hood. If you from Atlanta, you know. He like, "Bro, let's leave. Let's go to the trap. We can't be here no more. Let's just run." And I'm telling him like, "Listen, we can't run. You feel me? We gonna get caught eventually. If anybody is even telling." He swore up and down Shawty was telling. And she just so happened that she kept it real for a second, right? She ended up telling on the guys, my best friends, right? So when the police pulled up on my best friends, they couldn't pull up on the fat one because he skated off. He went back to Chicago or something. Like he was nowhere to be found, right? So they pulled up on the skinny one. When they pulled up on the skinny one, that was all she wrote. Mind you, this was my best friend, fool. He ended up telling on us, and in the statement was saying basically, me and my brother were the aggressors. This is what he said. Me and my brothers were the aggressors. We scared him into doing this situation, and the only reason he did it is because we threatened his life. Feel me? A week later, man, cause the police was laying on us for about a week. A week later, bro, they picked us up. I'm talking about in the most abrupt way. I had just bought a car, so I'm headed to AutoZone. Matter of fact, drop part 2 in the comments. If y'all want to hear part 2, drop part 2 in the comments. This already been a slick long video, you know what I'm saying? But if y'all want to hear part 2, how we got caught and where we got sent to and my first day in jail and all that stuff like that, drop part 2 in the comments and I'ma give it to you. But hey, listen, man, shout out to everybody who been liking, sharing, commenting and stuff like that. And man, listen, bro. If it ain't worth it, don't do it. Straight up. Y'all know I gotta leave with a little message every time I end these videos, but this for all the young boys out there, for all even the grown-ups out there, cause you know everybody don't know everything. But if you weigh your options, bro, and the consequence don't weigh up with the reward, then let it be, fool. Straight up. You ain't always gotta risk your life. You ain't always gotta risk your time. You ain't always gotta risk yourself to win. You know? Especially in today's era, like you can make content, you can do all type of stuff out here in this world today. You know, if the consequences don't add up to the reward, let it be, bruh. But listen, man, drop part two in the comments if y'all want part two. Hear the rest of the video, and